Scott, when was the last time you were here at the World Championship?
I was here in 2007.
Okay. And what was that experience like? You made history on that October day.
Yeah. It was a surreal experience because 22 months earlier, I was laying on my parents' living room floor, not wanting to live anymore, and I threw up this Hail Mary prayer to God and said, "Hey man, if you open up a door for me, then I'll run through it." And obviously, be careful what you pray for. I've been doing a lot more running than I bargained. Yeah. And then 22 months later, NBC featured that story to 50 million people around the world. And so not only did I find hope and inspiration, but through this story, many people around the world were able to find hope and inspiration.
And tell us what you accomplished.
Well, I was the first double amputee to complete the Hawaiian Ironman triathlon.
And what was your time, Scott?
It was 16:42.
Everyone knows their time.
Yeah, exactly. You and I actually 3 months earlier had an interview back in Coeur d'Alene. I had broken my back, and I was in a wheelchair, and so it's great to be upright now. And you interviewing me 4 years later, definitely in a great position, and with doing this race with a healthy body.
So what brings you back to the 2011 Ford Ironman World Championship?
Well, I definitely have a purpose for being in this race, and my purpose here really is, this race is not about me, it's about the bigger purpose. When I threw up that Hail Mary prayer, it was a dream, a bigger dream that I wanted to have for physically challenged people, for disabled kids, for prosthetic research, and for helping our wounded veterans, because I was really inspired by our wounded veterans when I started this journey and threw up that prayer. And so I'm back at really bringing awareness to my foundation. This year, we have helped through my foundation, we've helped 250 wounded veterans and their families through our Wounded Warrior family retreats back in Georgia. We've helped over 250 families and brought them in, loved on them for a weekend, provided child care, date nights, counseling for the wounded veterans and their families. And this next year, what we want to do is we want to start with this race to be the spark, but to raise $100,000 and to put on at least 6 camps next year for our wounded veterans and their families.
Let's talk about your physical transformation from the last time you were here in Hawaii, because you're a slimmer Scott Rigsby.
Yes, I am. I weighed about 218, 220 pounds when I did it the first time. And again, I had broken my back at Coeur d'Alene about 3 months earlier, gained about 20 pounds from not being able to train, and really only had about 6 weeks to train for this race. Certainly not enough time to train for a tough race like this, but I was able to survive it. And so when I was actually given the opportunity through the lottery system that WTC puts on, that I said I don't want to carry all that weight. So I'm not carrying a small chocolate lab, or I'm not carrying a small baby around, but I'm about 40 pounds lighter than I was the first time. I hired a great nutritionist, Ann Dunaway from Dunaway Dietetics back in Atlanta, and so she has been slapping my hand to get me away from the cookie jar, and she just allowed me to just eat, make better choices, eat this, don't eat this kind of stuff. And so I'm so happy to be at a race, healthy, and not only healthy, but just also so I speak to so many kids around the country, and it is for me to really be a role model, I need to walk the talk. And so that's so there is a slimmer that my friends call me back home a big rig. So I'm kind of still big, but I'm a little bit smaller rig this time around.